Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. Today I really want to talk a little bit about, hold on, let me make sure I get my little thing up. Hold on, there we go. Now you can see me. Today I wanted to discuss booking holiday parties. This is a really crucial part of our industry, and really October through the first half of January, generally these should be your busiest months of the year. Today I want to go over some sales ideas to start filling up those weekends now. Kind of a good tactic is Christmas in July. It's a good way to really start your bookings for the upcoming year. But going a little bit before that, last year I did an event in the beginning of December, and I've had this account for 3 years now, and it's a pretty large event, and they very much clearly plan ahead. Why is this working? So anyways, I was able to get a small deposit the week after their event ended for the following year. And I love the idea of getting clients on the hook way earlier on than normal. Smaller companies won't do this, but larger companies will. This is the sort of the thing that pretty often they love to book things early. It's one less thing they have to do. This is way that, like how the holiday sales process really should start working is immediately after the party ends, usually a week or two later. Give your client an option. Hey, we're so glad you loved your event. We book up pretty early, just in current business alone. Take a small deposit to get them on the hook, and if they cancel, they know they don't get their money back. So it's kind of a little bit of a win-win. In the meantime, if there's a changing of the guard and the planner leaves, you still have secured the event. I spoke to someone yesterday who very much had this issue. This is a good way of getting the company on the hook. That way they are committed to booking you. You've already done it. They've been happy. They go ahead and book on the next year. Even if someone changes, that's fine. You don't run the risk of having someone, I guess, leave and then you're screwed out of the event. So it's not going to work with everyone, but at least you tried. Next up, excuse me. So Christmas in July. Let's go back a little bit. So it would start from last year. So immediately after last year is where you really should start booking your events. Christmas in July is pretty much the soonest that you can book a Christmas event. I used to do an event where I would invite all of my corporate clients from the previous year to come out and try what we have to offer. It's informal. You also have the time in July to dedicate to this. Generally, July is a little bit slower. It creates a nice little revenue stream in a period that's traditionally dead. This is your chance to really show off your absolute best. If you want to do a projection booth, an augmented reality booth, a virtual reality booth, and yes, there's a difference between the two, green screen, animated GIF with a video background, whatever it is, this is your chance to offer something a little different that has value, that shows you're different and not just like any other photo booth. And at that time, I think that you're also able to get a more substantial deposit. So in July, you could absolutely command a 50% deposit, and 50% would be appropriate. However, if you need some sort of incentive for them to book early, value-added items tend to be the best. So whether that's a green screen, an overlay, a custom design, whatever the case is, just make sure that the value is there. You really want to be able to really incentivize the reason why your client is booking. This brings us to now. This is a prime booking season for your holiday events. I've been booked for the holiday season pretty much since July. Most of my events that happened last December booked then, at least committed to a date then. This really is the key to maintaining the relationship with your current events. What I want everyone to do right now is to take a day and go through your last year's events, every single one of them. Take all the weddings and put them off to the side. We're going to get to those in a minute. Take all the corporate events that you did, and then really you kind of need to, take your happy ass over the phone and start calling them one by one. Picking up the phone is such a huge deal. You'd be surprised how many people don't. When you get them on the phone, thank them for their business last year and ask if they're working on, the event this year. You'd love to be a part of it. You have something new that you can do. Hey, have you selected a theme for this year? Just really get them talking. If they don't, if you don't know what it is, Ismail always bring this up, how, what if, you're a little bit introverted or what have you. If you don't know what to talk about, play stupid and ask questions. Really, the thing here is everyone loves to talk about themselves. People love to talk about themselves. Offer whatever it is you're offering, but as a solution. This is the real key here, is to not get pretty salesy. This is a crafted art form, so don't worry if you screw it up the first time. You probably will, but that's all right. The key here is to be sure that you're attempting at doing sales calls. If you're doing sales calls to a previous client, that's really considered a warm call. It's not necessarily a cold call. I remember when I first started out, I absolutely hate cold calling. I still hate cold calling to this day. There was a wedding magazine that I advertised in, and literally this was before everyone had email. Actually, come to think of it, it was pre-Facebook. Gosh, that was forever ago. Well, let me fix my lighting here. They used to give you, I'm sure they still do this, a spreadsheet of all of the brides that have registered. This included the name, the wedding day, the location if they picked it, phone number, and usually a home address. I remember spending at least 3 hours a day calling endlessly, getting hung up on, getting yelled at never to call again. You name the obscenity, I've clearly been called it. You would call person after person and just get more discouraged with each passing phone call. I mean, it was depressing. Then you finally had that one that was like, sure, I'll come in for a meeting. And it was just like, you're like, really? You want to come in? I mean, I've been doing this for 3 hours and no one has said yes, and you said yes. So that's the big difference is with this one, the client that ended up booking came in, and I think she was like $4,000 or something in revenue. Well, that just paid for the 3 hours of the time that I just sat there on the phone. So you have to go through a whole lot of no's before you get a yes, and that's just a plain and simple fact. But the fact that you're putting time into doing sales calls, and you just kind of have to be hungry for it. It's what weeds out the weak ones from the strong ones. So start from the beginning and call your client list from last year that previously booked with you and see if they want to rebook again. That is first off, number one. You're going to have a higher success rate because they booked last year, and hopefully you didn't piss them off last year. And let's not forget about the brides that we put off to the side. I wouldn't be intrusive as to make a phone call and say, hey, do you have a holiday party? But I absolutely would take the time to send out an email blast with an offer specifically for them. Hey, you got married with us last year. Hey, we're doing, holiday special this year. They could easily work for companies that are planning holiday parties, and you never know, they could be hosting their own holiday party. Holiday parties are not just exclusive to corporate people. I mean, you never know which one they could be involved with, so it could be a great thing. Let's move on to a more traditional method. Now, hear me out. I know I'm going to get shit for this, but I will say that postcards have been super successful for me. Considering the cost of printing and the cost for postage, and if you have a mailing list lying around somewhere, give it a whirl, go ahead and try it. You have a standard conversion with postcards, and this will definitely fill up a calendar. I've tried this and I've had success with it, and I don't advertise anywhere right now, so I don't exactly have a mailing list like readily available. However, if you are interested in advertising, or if you're advertising somewhere and you have a mailing list at your disposal and you're not using it, go ahead and put it to work and, start sending out some postcards. The first event that you book off your little campaign, that pays for it. Book 2, you're good to go. Book 3, you're on a way to retirement. I mean, anything after that is just, it's just money in the bank. Let's go ahead and talk about websites for a little bit. Websites, what I really think that is something that is very actionable that we can do today is I would like to see everyone create a special banner that goes on the top of their website that has a specific holiday party special. Are you in charge of planning your holiday party? Click here. Put together a tailored package geared towards corporate clients. Remember, corporate people love branding the shit out of everything. So the more you incorporate their brand, the better. We're going to do a microsite for you, a print layout, brand the whole damn booth. I don't care. It's just the most someone is going to say is no. It's your job to tell the customer what they want. You have to prove yourself as you've seen more and you've done more. Even if you've only done 10 events, that's 10 more than this other little planner has done. So you need to present yourself as the expert that knows what's going on, that knows what's trendy, that knows what's successful, that knows what needs to happen, that your client is going to have an absolute blast and all their guests are going to have a blast. On the topic of websites, let's work on creating a lead magnet. What we do this here on Super Boothers. I don't know if you noticed this. It's a downloaded PDF where someone gives you their email in exchange for a piece of information. This is your chance to set yourself apart and educate your client and show yourself as the leader. Tell your clients, the 5 best holiday backgrounds. Do a blog on it. Do a newsletter on it or whatever. Tell them, the 10 best holiday photo themes. You could do an ugly sweater party. You could do ornament, like a little ornament theme with a tree. You could do sitting on Santa's lap virtually. Whatever the case is, create a branded, sorry, I'm distracted. Create a branded PDF. Make sure that your contact information is on every single page of that PDF, and make sure that there's a call to action at the end of that PDF. You want to make sure that you have to tell your client what to do. Hey, visit this website. Hey, call this phone number. Make sure that you tell the customer what they're supposed to do at the end of reading your little PDF. You now have their attention and their email, and you need to utilize it in the best way that you can. Follow up that, like whenever they download, follow up that email. Oh my God, there's a bee. There's a bee. Follow up that email a week after they requested to get it. Hey, thanks so much for downloading our PDF. Do you have a date in mind for your event? And keep the conversation going. Leave it as a question. It's something that commands a response quickly. It's a great tactic that at the very least gets someone, if they don't commit to, sending a date request whenever they're already on your website. For a hot minute, we can talk about social media advertising. Facebook advertising is very straightforward. You pay money, they boost it, and just be sure to target an audience that is your little demographic. Who is the person that you're trying to reach? We know that 80% of photo booth customers, that book photo booths are female. This is a huge advantage because now we know what we're already working with, and now we know that our marketing needs need to appeal to a woman. One of the key points to know is that we do not design for ourselves, we design for our customers. Most photo booth owners are male, most photo booth consumers are female, so whoever read the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus is the one that wins all the money. We need to be the ones that bridge that marketing gap. Whoever does that the best is the one that's going to succeed. If you are going to highlight a blog of, say, a particular type of event that you've done, let's use green screen and boomerangs, for example. Let's go ahead and post something that would appeal to a female demographic. Brad Dixon does this with Flashbar. He has that gorgeous marble backdrop, his branded photo booth, and it's beyond amazing. That appeals towards a female. That alone should get him bookings just because it goes along that little demographic. The same thing goes for Instagram. Facebook and Instagram are done both on Facebook. It needs to be quick. It needs to be clean. It needs to be upbeat. Wouldn't hurt if it had an avocado on it if you're trying to geared towards millennials. Just be sure to craft whatever it is you put out there to where it's gearing towards the market that you're trying to reach. If you don't know what would appeal to that type of person, ask that type of person. I'm pretty sure you have a friend that you can bounce idea off of, or that could act as a focus group, or hey, what do you think about this? Maybe this is a little bit lighter. Maybe if you add music to this, whatever the case may be. Sorry if I'm going too fast, guys. Scroll through Instagram accounts that you feel that is on brand with you and try and mimic that. I really, lastly, this is a big one. If you get a lead, respond immediately. This sounds so stupid, but it really is like such a huge deal. And your client should never be waiting on you. If you see a lead come in, 9 times out of 10, they are still on your website. If you ask for a phone number in your little form and they give you a phone number to call, pick up the phone and give them a call. It is really not that hard. Talk to them, find out what their needs are, give them ideas of what they want to accomplish. Is there a look that they're going for? Do you want to do something funny? Do you want to do something humorous? Is it for the guest to have a takeaway or a physical memento of the event so that they can bring home with them? Get your client talking. This is the simplest form of sales, is to have the person that you're talking to sell themselves without really them knowing. The more you can begin to build a relationship with your client, the better. The early bird really does get the worm. Ismail and I talked about this. He lost a client within 5 minutes of just not picking up the phone. It's my standard procedure to get back with a client within 15 minutes. Even if it's to say, hey, listen, I got your inquiry. I need to check on a couple of things, and whatever it is you need, I'll get back to you by 3 p.m. You've at least made contact with that client in a non-automated, very personalized way. That is such a big deal to begin with, is just to get back with these people as soon as you can. Absolutely do not, under any circumstances, send out an automated email when someone contacts you. This is the thing that pisses me off. As a consumer, if you say, I'm going to get back with you within 24 hours, I don't know that you mean that. If I don't know that as a consumer, I don't know if this is just an automated thing. So what if it's on a Saturday? What if it's on a Sunday? What if it's on a holiday? As a consumer, if I get an automated email like that, I'm moving on to the next person. And I'm pretty sure everyone else does the same thing. Some people might say, oh, well, they need to know that I got the email. If you're responding within 15 minutes of getting that initial lead, there is no reason to send that email in the first place. So, that being said, there are plenty of ways to be booking clients between now and December. If you wait until November, you will be screwed. You're already going to be dead in the water. A couple things that I think I want to talk about is I did not realize the value of a January party. I was on the phone with a client a while back, and she was trying to, fit in Saturdays, and the Saturdays just weren't working for her. And, I was like, well, what if you moved it to January? She was already so close to Christmas. You're already going to lose people just because, they need to spend time with their own families. I talked her into doing a January event, and I'm just the photo booth person. So she was doing an amazing job transferring everything from December to January. She calls me back 2 weeks later. She goes, Ryan, you saved me so much money. She goes, the pressure's off. No one has to rush to go get bullshit Secret Santa presents or whatever. And it was nice to get verification from that client that, hey, I'm listening to you, and hey, this is working, this is saving me money. Going back a little bit to, let's talk about, whenever you send out an automated email. One of the things that I do is I incorporate text messaging into my booking system. So I ask, whenever I have a little intake form, I ask the customer, hey, can I text you, any information about your event? If they say yes, they give me their phone number. Great, fantastic. I got them on the hook. So what I'll do is let's just say that they have selected, there's bugs out here. Let's say that they have selected November 25th. I don't know what day it is. I think it's a Saturday. So if they pick that date, they say, I want 6 to 9, I want a green screen, I want animated GIFs, and, I'm out in the middle of nowhere, so I'm going to charge a delivery fee. So I'll go in, I will, put in their information in the system that'll say, hey, listen, this is, your event reservation, here you go. I will send that to them in an email first. I will respond to that initial client inquiry that'll say, I got your information, here's the link where you can see this, do you have a theme for your event? Leave it at that. Don't even go into this long spiel of, hey, what's included and all this crap. They can find that on your reservation. Ask them what their theme is. Ask them, do they have any ideas for what their layout should be? So this way, you're making a relationship with a client and they start emailing you back and forth. Whenever they email you back and forth, that's a buying signal. Buying signals is something that we talk a little bit about on Super Boothers. It's a way that a client is telling you without necessarily saying the verbiage, I want to book with you. So all that, there's bugs out here. This is the last time I do one outside. So that is good to begin with. If they do not respond to that, I have my system that automatically sends out a text message to them if they gave me their phone number. So that text message will say, hey, listen, do you have any questions about your photo booth rental? Are you still interested in purchasing or in renting a photo booth? All the time I get responses that'll say, oh, I forgot, thank you so much, I'll check it right now, whatever. You're going to get a response because it's going to their cell phone. So anyways, if you have any questions, put it in the comments. This is actually, we have a YouTube channel now, so I'll take this video and shift it over to YouTube, and that way it can, live on there for a little bit. Next up, we have Super Boothers Do Dallas, September 25th at the W Dallas Victory. It's going to be a fun night. It's going to be even better than New York. Tickets are $75 and can be purchased at superboothers.com. Our episode tomorrow is with Chad Coe and Paul Kulos from LA Photo Party. We got to interview them and ask some really great questions about how to launch a new photo booth. There's some great sales and marketing tips in there, so don't forget to check it out. Please subscribe to our podcast. We really do love it. I know that a couple people sent in some reviews. I would really appreciate it if you sent some reviews on the iTunes platform itself. That really helps us. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. I hope I've given you some good insight on how to start booking holiday parties right now. I wish everyone a great holiday season. See you guys later. Thanks so much.